Hey guys, it's Bad Snacks here. This is a video on how I get my violin to sound kinda not like a violin. I'm going to be talking about the pedals that I use in my live performances / the pedals that I use for my violin when I'm recording in the box and writing and stuff like that. For those of you who might not be familiar, I am a classically trained violinist. I have been playing violin for basically my entire life. I started when I was like 3.5. And I love classical music, but obviously that's not the style of music that I make, so a whole lot of my adolescence was spent trying to find ways to integrate the violin into electronic music. So these are pedals that I've just collected throughout the years, and a lot of them I have bought on reverb.com, and if you're not familiar with reverb.com, it's like an online marketplace for new and used music gear, and it's great because there's kind of an accountability system for it. I will put a link down below if you are interested in any of these pedals. For you string players out there, I highly encourage you guys to start getting into sound design because I think that the electric string community is pretty slept on right now, and I would love to see more string players experimenting with sound design and making dope sounds. It has been a huge game changer for me, and honestly I don't think I would be playing violin as much in my adult life if I hadn't found a way to mess with sound design. So I hope that you find this helpful, and yeah, enjoy! It starts with my violin, which is the NXT5 by NS Design, and then I have my Organelle by Critter and Guitari here. I use a Strymon Zuma as a power source for the rest of my pedals, and then it goes into the Enzo by Meris with a corresponding MIDI foot switch, then the Walrus Audio Iron Horse V2 for my distortion, followed by the Empress ParaEq to EQ things and use it as a boost, and then I have the Empress Echosystem as my delay / reverb. Anyway, yeah, let's just dive right in. Starting with the violin, I am using a NXT5 by NS Design, and this actually isn't the newest model. I think it's called the NXT-A now, but I originally started on a Wave 5 by NS, and that's like their entry-level model, and that violin served me so well for years. So the main difference between the Wave and this one is the materials are a little different. This one's a little bit sturdier, and also it just has a more robust sound in my opinion, and it has a pickup switch between like pizzicato So then there's the Organelle by Critter and Guitari, which first of all is one of the most multifaceted instruments that is on the market, honestly. It's a synthesizer that's based off of pure data, so you can actually build your own patches and have it do kind of anything. But I'm going to show you a patch that totally changed the game for me. So I'm going to scroll down to guitar to ARP. And what this does is that it finds the tone of your input. So my violin is going in through here, and then it matches that tone with a synthesizer, and the output is kind of crazy. So I'm going to throw it up on 100% so you guys can kind of hear what it sounds like. That tone alone completely changed the game. Let me just show you guys what the original purpose of the patch was. So it's guitar to ARP, and if I hit any of these buttons, it shows me a sequence, and that's what the tempo knob is for. So that's what it's originally for, but I barely use that setting. I really just use it for the tone. And usually when I'm putting it in my signal chain, I throw it on like 70 something, so there's still a little bit of dry tone and dry signal in there. And that's the first step. So this is like one of my workhorse pedals. I consider it a pedal in this context at least, and this is what I use for every single one of my shows. And then the next pedal in my signal chain is the Enzomeris. Now, I've already done a full-length video on this going over like all the different features of it, and you can check that out if you want like a little bit more of an in-depth scoop, but I'm gonna just show you what I use it for. I actually have my settings saved in these kind of MIDI foot switches. So what this pedal does is that it takes your audio and it turns it into a synthesized signal. So there are actually 2 oscillators in here that do that. So this is like one of my lead tones is with the lead square wave on it. So there's that, that's my lead sound. I also use this for the pitch shifter a lot because I like using like lower fifths to kind of create some edgy patches. So. And that's where having a little bit of dry signal from the organelle really comes in handy, is because there's a little bit more signal. Another thing that I should mention is that if you're not familiar with putting a pedal board together, the way that you want to organize it is by which pedals need the most signal. So my organelle would probably be the one that, well, it is the one that needs the most signal from my violin, and then the Enzo is a close second, and then the distortion. So that brings me to my distortion pedal. Now this is the Walrus Audio Iron Horse V2, and it's a pretty simple distortion, but what I like about it is that it actually has 3 different modes of compression in the distortion, which sounds a little bit like this. Then there's this one that this is the most compressed. And then there's this one, which is like the wide open one. And this one works the best with this lead tone. So this is where it starts to get really skronky. This is like where it starts to sound a little bit almost like an electric guitar. If I throw the pitch shift on it. Can't help but stank face. So yeah, what's really nice about this is that if I do switch the mode, it almost becomes like a fuzz pedal. This center mode, where it's the most open and the least compressed, is just money. And then you get to feel like a rock star for a minute, or an hour, or however long you're playing. So then the last 2 pedals of my pedal board are my Empress ParaEq with the booster, and then the Empress Echosystem. The ParaEq doesn't need like a whole lot of explanation. It's just another way that I like to sculpt my EQs to make sure that my highs aren't going off the charts, or that I can just like cut my lows, because usually I don't need those. And then having the boost option is like super, super helpful. So when you go into like full lead mode, you have that option. And then the Echosystem is just, it's probably the most complex delay pedal I've ever had, but it's also just like the sauciest and the most ambient. It has the most options, I guess. And I also like that, you know, you can scroll through the presets pretty easily. It just makes it really easy to go back and forth between different presets that you have. And yeah, so let's set up like a really saucy lead tone so that you can hear where we're at. Let's jam on something. Cool, so I hope that you enjoyed that. Again, I will reiterate, this is very much my real live violin configuration. It's taken me a really long time to get some of these sounds, and these are just like some of the patches that I really gravitate towards. I look forward to doing a little bit more sound design exploring. I have a bunch of pedals that I would love to do more violin reviews on. If you guys have any suggestions of pedals that you would love to see a violin being played through, please let me know, because this is what I like to do. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Snacks out.